Hello people and welcome back. Well, I'm back. I had to take some time off. I was on the sidelines. I don't know if you can see, but this right cheek here is mad swollen. The left one is all fine, but I'm getting better. I'm back now, and today I've got a nice tactic to show you. It's a 3-3-3-1, but the striker in this tactic performs absolutely fantastic. In one season, we got a striker to score 63 league goals. It's madness. So before we get stuck into things, make sure you are subscribed, make sure you like this video, subscribe as well. All of that is going to help the channel. But now let's get stuck into this video and this tactic. Welcome back, and what we're going to do is have a look at the results first, look at the tactic, play a game, and then obviously close the video. But with this tactic, I did test with 3 teams. One team, we only completed a full season. So we only completed a full season once. I've just made that confusing. So I completed 1 full season. That was with Lazio. And then I did half a season, I believe, with Blackburn Rovers. And then I did a quick test with Bayern Munich just to see how many goals I can get Lewandowski to score in around 10 to 15 games. So what we're going to do at first is have a look at the results with Lazio. We're already here, so we might as well look at the results with Lazio. In the Serie A, we were champions. We played 38, we drew 4, we lost 1. That one loss came away to Napoli. It was a 2-0 defeat, but we ended up with 103 points on the table. Ciro Immobile scored 63 league goals. Absolutely madness. His average rating was 7.98. I expected better. Luis Alberto got 7.66 and Manuel Lazari got 7.39. Manuel Lazari, by the way, was a very key player to the system. Luis Alberto got 24 assists, Lazari got 15, Ciro Immobile got 15 man of the match awards. Now let's just look at some of the stats here. So throughout the whole season, we scored 115 league goals. We had the most shots for. For the fewest shots against, we come in 3rd. For the best pass completion, we're in 6th place. But for the most possession, oh well, we're on 6th place again. For the most tackles won, we aren't in the top 8. Most dribbles made, we come in 2nd. For the most clean sheets, we come in 5th. And for the fewest conceded, we come in 2nd. Top goal scorer, of course, Ciro Immobile with 63 goals. So he's got a goal every 53 minutes. I mean, that's just madness. For the most assists, Luis Alberto, Lazari's on the list. Philip Anderson also on the list. For the most shots for, Ciro Immobile. I mean, we all kind of just assumed that. We could have guessed that. For the most key passes, Luis Alberto, Manuel Lazari just about makes that list. Best pass completion, nobody in the top 8. Most tackles won, nobody there. For the most dribbles made, Lazari, again, he was very important. And for the most clean sheets, our goalkeeper is in 6th place, which is Pepe Reina. And for the fewest conceded, he comes in 3rd. Now looking at the pass map, you can see this is probably a 3 at the back formation. As we can see, 3 defenders here. You can see we kind of got an overload out on the flanks. Maybe it's not a heavy overload, but you can see that we're trying to be effective in those wider areas. Now looking at the attacking efficiency, we were aggressive and clinical. We kind of guessed that. For the defensive efficiency, we were quiet and impenetrable. I mean, you can look at the scoring as well. High scoring, high quality shooting. We got some high quality shooting with strong defending. We frequently won the ball, but we were also reliable in possession, which is a bonus. But for the tackling, I mean, I believe we could have done a lot better with the tackling. We made fewer tackles, but generally we were poor. We did have a low tackles won ratio. That is something that we can look at. Now we can look at the squad. Ciro Immobile scored 65 goals in all competitions. Milinkovic-Savic scored 10, but you can see he's got a new position, which is at centre back. So that is going to be interesting to see what we've done with Savic here. This is the Lazio results. Now let's load up the Blackburn results, and we can see kind of some similarities, especially with the striker. So now we're here at Blackburn Rovers, and as you can see, we've played 29, we've won 24, we've drawn 3. 2 of those draws came at home, and we've also lost 2. So we've lost 1 more already than we did at Lazio. But Blackburn, where are they predicted to finish? Because they aren't one of the better sides in the league. So the media prediction is actually 12. So we are doing really well. So you can see, played 29, but Sam Gallagher has so far scored 22 goals. And looking at his profile, I mean, clearly he is not the best striker in the league. At least with Ciro Immobile, he's a very, very good striker. We've got the best out of him, which was kind of the point, which we'll explain later. But getting the best out of certain players is the point in these videos and these tactics. Now Sam Gallagher has only played 26 games. He scored 22 goals in XG of 20. He's got 3 assists. None of the goals that he scored, by the way, were penalties. He's not a penalty taker, so they were all from open play. Sam Gallagher is playing really well. But you can see here, we really just got one goal scorer in this tactic, the striker, Sam Gallagher. He scored 27 goals in all competitions in 29 starts. After we do look at the tactic, we're then going to play a game with Bayern Munich. I believe it's against Leipzig, and then we can just have a quick look at their results before we do play that game, and then I mean, we can end the video after that. So let's get stuck into how we made this tactic and why we made the tactic in the first place. Let's head over back to Lazio. Welcome back to the Lazio squad, and just like my previous videos, really what we've tried to do is select a team and find a perfect tactic for that specific team. Now, upon selecting Lazio, I already knew that three at the back is probably going to be the main idea. I already knew that. I mean, a lot of people are familiar with Lazio, and it's kind of the formation, the go-to formation, the go-to shape that you go to when you do pick Lazio. Now, we are playing a three at the back formation, but what we haven't seen much of yet is a libero. We haven't seen a libero being used often, and well, we wanted to use one, and Milinkovic-Savic is probably the best libero in this side. Now, we got a Sherby. We don't really want a Sherby to be a libero. We got Luis Felipe as well. Again, this isn't someone that you want as a libero. He can be, probably, maybe, probably be decent. We didn't exactly have a libero at Blackburn Rovers, but I believe that Milinkovic-Savic could have been a very decent libero in this team. He likes to get further forward. He likes to get in the opposition's area. And if we read what a libero does, so if we hover over it, first of all, his main priority is to be a sweeper. Now, Milinkovic-Savic doesn't necessarily have the greatest positioning, but he does have decent acceleration. He does have decent anticipation as well. So he is aware of what's happening around him. But what he's also responsible for is taking possession of loose balls from a deep position, secure possession, and also roam forwards in support of the midfield when the team has possession. So, and that is really what we want from Milinkovic-Savic, to be involved in midfield and not just act as the sweeper. So we already have the idea that Savic is going to be the libero in the system, but we also believe that Ciro Immobile should be the goal scorer. I mean, just looking at his attributes, you really want the best out of Ciro Immobile. He could be a poacher, he could be a pressing forward, he could be advanced forward. I mean, really, he could be anything but a target man, in my opinion. And in this team, we only have one striker, so we know that this system can only have one striker. We literally had only Ciro Immobile. I believe in January, I went and signed a backup. I went and got Joseph Martinez as a backup striker. He didn't really play. He's got 12 sub appearances, no starts. He hasn't even scored a goal. Ooh. But we heavily relied on Ciro Immobile throughout the whole season. Thank God he didn't get injured. So we're just going to put Ciro Immobile as a striker. We're going to put Luis Alberto in central midfield. But looking at his attributes, it's clear that he's going to be as a number 10. So what we could do is drop this striker back, Ciro Immobile up top. He's probably going to be a poacher advanced forward. We should start with an advanced forward because that's the more popular role, and Luis Alberto will be in that number 10 role. He's likely to be a playmaker though as well. Now, of course, we want Milinkovic-Savic as the libero, so we're going to put him as the centre back. Libero on, well, I actually did start with libero on attack after some tweaking, playing some games. It wasn't the best. It wasn't the best. So we are going to be leaving him on support. We're going to put Luis Felipe as the right centre back and the Sherby as the left centre back. We know now that is going to be our back three. For the wing backs, we're going to have Manuel Lazzari, and at the left back, we are going to have Hisaj. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce his name, but he will be playing left back for us. And what we're going to do is just drop these to make it a back three, and then we got our two wing backs. This shape is looking a bit funky at the moment, but we also do have some very decent wide players. We're not stacked in central midfield at all. We do have Lucas Leiva, we do have Milinkovic-Savic, but we are playing him as a centre back, and we do have Luis Alberto, who we already decided we're going to be playing as a number 10. So we aren't stacked in central midfield, so we're going to have to be thinking about wingers, where we do have some decent players such as Pedro, and we do have Mattia Sekagni, also Philip Anderson. So we do have a few players that can play out wide, so we're going to move this box-to-box midfielder and this central midfielder out on the flanks, and whoever on the left, it could be Cabral, it could be Anderson, or it could be Sekagni. We're just going to put Anderson just there for the sake of it. And then that leaves us with the last position in midfield. Of course, Lucas Leiva in goal. We're going to put Pepe Reina. This is the shape that we do have at the moment, and where we are light or little protection is this area here just in front of the defense and between the central midfielder. I do believe that we can shift Lucas Leiva in defensive midfield, and here we have our 3-3-3-1 shape. Now pause. On Patreon, I do have a tier where the Patreons can send a tactic where I have a look at it, and we do have a SGM tactic. Well, it's created by SJM, not SGM. SJM, make sure you follow him on Twitter as well. The link will be somewhere. He sent me this tactic to look at, and you can see it's literally the same shape. It's fairly the same. The instructions are fairly different. Now, he created this tactic with Newcastle. He has good players, and the XG that he created with this tactic is absolutely insane. So you can also check out this tactic as well. The download link will be on the same page as the download link for my tactic. Make sure you have a look at this as well if you are interested. It's very intriguing. You've got the advanced playmaker out on the left. You've got the shadow striker behind the advanced forward, which I worked out or find out later. That is actually a very good partnership and is better than the advanced playmaker and advanced forward. He's also using an inside forward on the right hand side as well, with the wing backs, deep line playmaker and central midfield. This is SJM's version, and I believe it's kind of a Marcelo Bielsa replication as well. Now back to this tactic, and now we have our shape. We also already have an idea of some player roles. So we have an advanced forward for Immobile, and like I just touched on as well, I did find the shadow striker to be more effective than the advanced playmaker, so we are going to be changing that role. And we also have a libero. Those are the roles that we already have the idea about, but what about the others and also the team instructions? Now, one thing I enjoyed about this tactic is fairly flexible when it comes to tweaking. Now, with Lazio and with Blackburn Rovers, I didn't really experiment much with the attacking duties in the attacking midfield area. So I did have two inverted wingers, both of them on support. So they're both cutting in, they're both creative players, creating for that shadow striker and also creating for that advanced forward. Well, they were meant to create for that shadow striker, really. Everybody just creates for the advanced forward. With Bayern Munich, I did experiment with these players on attack. You can afford to because you are a very good side. Of course, by far the best side in the league. You can experiment with some more attacking duties, and with SJM's version as well, you can see all of these players are on the attacking duty. But with Lazio and with Blackburn Rovers, I had both of them on support. But to make them a little bit more effective, a little bit more attacking and creative, I have given them the instructions of get further forward, roam from position, cross more often, and take more risk. A lot of supply to that advanced forward. Again, the system, you can tweak it. Maybe you can try inside forwards if you prefer inside forwards, or you think that your players are more suited to be inside forwards, then just have a go. Just try it out. If it doesn't work, you can always change it the game after or at half time. I mean, you can just try new things out, but the inside forward are fairly more aggressive, so you might not necessarily have to add those added instructions. So already we have our attacking four all sorted. We have two inverted wingers, we have a shadow striker, and we have an advanced forward. For the wing backs, again, I started with a lot of things that I changed, I tweaked. That is what happens. This tactic kind of took days. It really did take days, because what happens is it works at one club and then I'm like, yes, I've got a tactic. I try it at another club and it's just like, this is crumbling. This is not a good, solid tactic overall. Maybe it suits one team, which is actually the point in these videos, but I also don't want to give a tactic that's just going to completely collapse, if that makes sense. So the tactic is suited for Lazio. That is the main purpose. But then again, it should always be a decent enough Football Manager tactic, not one that's just going to completely crumble elsewhere. I hope that makes sense. I do like to complicate things. But for the wing backs, I did start them with attack. They started fairly well, but then after a while it died down. The opponents started getting in behind the wing backs, and I noticed these wing backs do not need to be on attack. They can be on support, where basically they're more of a supportive person than acting as an individual. And again, something that I noticed is that we play very open. We play wide. We basically stretch ourselves. So when we do lose the ball, there are gaps. I have instructed my wing backs to actually sit more narrow. Now, the idea behind this, of course, sit more narrow is going to have more of an effect, not just affect this one scenario, but the idea that I had in my head. So for an example, if the right wing back had the ball or the right centre back, if the ball's on the right side of the pitch, then the left wing back doesn't need to stay wide on the touchline. He can come inside, close that gap. So if we do lose the ball, we do not have that big gap between the left wing back and the rest of the defense. That is really the idea. But what also can happen, of course, is that your left centre back may have the ball and your left wing back can still sit more narrow. So it's not perfect, but I do find that it's more important to have the wing back sitting more narrow when the ball is on the far side of the pitch. We also got him to take more risk as well. I have noticed that the wing backs can be fairly safe in possession. I just want him to take more risk, try and play that defense splitting pass to the inverted wing back and even to the advanced forward, which you will notice a lot of these vertical balls from your wing back to your advanced forward. He just plays this long ball over the top. The advanced forward breaks the defense line, boom, a goal. So on the wing backs, that is what we got. We got two wing backs, both on the supportive duty, taking more risk and sitting more narrow. Now for the central defenders, I did just use ball playing defenders. I believe they should work well. You can use wide centre backs, but they weren't really effective for me. The reasons being is because the tactic does have focus play down the left and focus play down the right. So naturally, they do just shift over. When we are attacking more intensely down the flanks, you will notice that your ball playing defenders just move over to the wider areas. You don't necessarily need that wide centre back. Now using wide centre backs, they're going to cross more often, not necessarily cross all the time, but they're going to cross more often than the ball playing defender. And they will cross from deep as well if you use a wide centre back on defend, and you can just lose good possession. So a ball playing defender for me was ideal, and I also like the way they bring the ball out from the defence as well, which of course we are going to be playing out from the defence. Lastly, Lucas Leiva, his role. What's the best role? I did play with a few roles. I tried that anchor man to try and get an overlapping movement from the libero and the defensive midfielder. That did work, but the anchor man just wasn't really effective in possession. And really, we do want this midfielder to be supportive as well in this midfield area. We don't want him just to hold his shape here. We do want to occupy a lot of spaces on the pitch. So for the defensive midfielder, I did opt out for the defensive midfielder on support. That's my go-to role. I tried it out and I never looked back. That's how I came up with Lucas Leiva's role. And in goal, we do have a super keeper on support. For Lucas Leiva, I did ask him to tackle harder just to be a little bit more forceful in his challenges, and he's also going to be taking more risk, similar to a deep line playmaker. But what a playmaker does in your tactic is basically a focus point. Whenever you do have a playmaker, your players naturally are going to be looking for their playmaker, and I didn't necessarily want a playmaker unless it was going to be a Luis Alberto. I didn't want our team just looking for Lucas Leiva. I mean, that is not what we really wanted. So that there is the player roles. Now we can move over to the team instructions. For the mentality, we went for positive, just to be a little bit more controlling during the 90 minutes. Now the focus play helps this tactic a lot. It stretches the opponents. When we are attacking intensely down those flanks, again, what you will notice is that the opposition's defense, they will shift over to that side. But what it can also do is create space in the middle area, and that allows the likes of the shadow striker, the advanced forward, to be dangerous, to make those attacking runs in behind the defenses, and this just turns the opposition's defense inside out. And the wider areas, the flanks of this tactic, are actually an area of strength as well. So focus the play down the left and the right really does help this tactic. We are going to be passing the ball into space. The passing directness is set to shorter, but the tempo we're just going to leave on standard. A higher tempo is usually the meta. It's typically the go-to, but with this tactic, we actually lost possession a lot, just trying to play that long ball, which is what happened. Now, this doesn't necessarily happen all the time, but with the tempo on higher, what I did notice, especially with the two ball playing defenders, is that they tried to get the ball from back to front fairly quickly, and by doing so, they just play that long ball. Looking for Chiro Immobile, who's running into the channels. As soon as he makes that move, we're looking for that pass, and then boom, there we go. And a lot of the times, we lost the ball. But with the standard tempo, they just kind of picked and choose their moments to do so. Now, in the final third, we are sending in low crosses. We're working the ball into the box, and that's it for the in possession. So we do have worked the ball into the box, the shorter passing, focus down both flanks, pass into space, and play out from the defense. Now in transition, counter press, of course, and when the possession has been won, we are going to be making our counter movements. pass into space is always going to help with that. And when the goalkeeper has the ball, we're just going to distribute the ball to the centre backs, and hopefully this frees up space for the wing backs, and then we can hit the wider areas and then attack intensely down those flanks, rather than distributing the ball straight to the flanks, because then sometimes that can be a little too easy for the opposing team to defend against. Now lastly, out of possession, again, it's all about finding what works in Football Manager, also what's going to be smart with the tactics. So we do have a much higher line of engagement, a higher defensive line. The defensive width is set to narrow. Usually a 3 at the back, you would just leave it on standard, but it works better forcing the opponents away, especially from this area here as well. It kind of just left gaps in key areas. Now for the trigger press, we are set to much more often, and we are going to be preventing that short goalkeeper distribution. And that there is the 3-3-3-1 all wrapped up. As you can see here with the finished article, it's identical. We've got the exact player roles, the team instructions, everything is all the same. And that is how I created this 3-3-3-3-3-3-1 tactic, with the striker just absolutely dominating. The striker is incredible in the system. And again, make sure you check out my Patreon, SJM's tactic, his Bielsa version. And now we're going to load up that Bayern Munich save, and we're just going to have some fun. We're going to play a game. Hopefully it's a high scoring game as well. Just have fun with it. Let's load up that Bayern Munich save. So here we are at Bayern Munich, and we've actually played 20 games. That's more than I thought, because with Lazio and Blackburn Rovers, I literally played every single game, even the cup games, and I usually give the cup games a skip, but I really wanted this tactic to be perfect. But with Bayern Munich, I was just skipping. I was using instant result, and you can see, I mean, we scored 76 goals already in 20 games. We've won every single game. Lewandowski has scored 33 goals in 20 games. I believe he's played 20. Yeah, he started 20, all 20 games so far, and he has scored 33 goals. His average rating so far is 8.09. But we do have RB Leipzig next at home. Someone asks, why do you always play home games? And it's pretty much straightforward. We want to see the tactic play out. Now, if I play away from home and the game is difficult, sometimes we don't even get many highlights, and it's very difficult for you to see how the tactic can actually play out. If we're defending a lot, or we have to defend more than usually, and we're not attacking a lot, then you don't really see a lot of the attacking principles. You're just going to see mainly the defensive ones. And that's kind of the reasons why I choose winnable home games, just so we can see the tactic play out and have fun as well. It's all about having fun. Nobody really wants to sit there looking at a 0-0 draw away from home, do they? But you can see here at Munich, we have experimented with the attacking duties on the flanks, and we also have the supportive one. But for the sake of this video, we are going to be using the one with the supportive duties, because that is the version that is available for download. So let's get stuck into this game. Pavard as the right wing back. We can really play Kingsley Coleman, can't we? No, we can't. But we're going to. Or Sabitzer. Yeah, we can play him. So a quick team talk. We're just going to ask the assistant. There we go. And let's get stuck in. Hopefully we get a nice easy win here. Here's Serge Gnabry with a free kick. He whips it in. Upamecano against his former club. And we are 1-0 up inside the first 7 minutes. And I mean, it was from a corner, or a free kick, I should say. Set piece goal. Set piece FM. But we are 1-0 up. So hopefully now the goals should start raining in. That is Upamecano's 12th goal of the season. 12. Madness. Oh, here comes Leipzig with a free kick of their own. But Neuer. Oh, they've just hit the bar. Here's Serge Gnabry with a free kick. Sula now with a header. We are getting some free kicks here. Dangerous ones too. Here's Serge Gnabry. Upamecano now. Muller. Serge Gnabry. You can see the overlap has already happened as well. Gnabry's basically as the right wing back, where our actual right wing back now is on the attacking line. Here's Goretzka now. Thomas Müller. Lewandowski, Davies. Look, he's making that run. Gnabry, and it's 2. Serge Gnabry. There we go. The ball didn't actually fall to Lewandowski, but you can see the run that he's made. And a lot of the times, the ball would have went to Lewandowski rather than Serge Gnabry. But you can see how Lewandowski plays the ball and he's gone. He was gone. Serge Gnabry also made that run as well. Smart run. And it's inside the goal, the net. I don't know what I was going to say there, but I've remixed it. I saved myself from just an absolute funny mistake. Here's Sabitzer now with a throw-in. Throws it to Müller. I mean, that's not a penalty. I can see from here that's a free kick. No penalty. I mean, we saw that already. Here's Serge Gnabry with the free kick. He whips it in, and please tell me that wasn't the highlight. Go on, Davies. So, have a shot. That's a penalty. Now, that's a penalty. Come on, ref. Just give it to us. Give it me. Give it me. Come on. No! That's fairly suspicious. What's the referee's name? Ham. We're just going to call him Ham, even though his name's Harm. But he harmed us, so we're just going to call him Ham. Here's Lehmann now for RB Leipzig. Mukiele. Olmo. Willy Orban kicks it long, but surely we're going to win that. Yes, we are. Goretzka. Sule. That is also another big positive with the three at the back. Is a lot of the times when we're pressing, let's just kick it long, and then we've got three defenders just waiting for it. Serge Gnabry, Lewandowski, of course, he's on the score sheet already. His what? His 38th goal of the season. Absolute madness. And it's 3-0 to Bayern Munich. Thomas Müller. It's a bit, sorry if I'm saying Müller's name like that. We've got a yogurt in the UK as well called Muller yogurt, and I don't know why me and my friends just always say Müller, but I'm a big fan of the Muller yogurt, by the way. Here's Serge Gnabry with a corner. Can we get one more just before half time? Can we make it 4? We want 4. We want 4. We want 4. Serge Gnabry. Musiala. Was that a shot? I believe so. It's a bit, so whips it in, and the highlight's gone. I mean, the highlight's still going, but I believe that was that. Referee, that's a send enough. That's a, come on, this referee's suspicious. It is half time and it's 3-0. Lema is not having a good game whatsoever. What we're going to do now is just kind of have some fun. We're going to put these inverted wingers on attack, and hopefully we can see if it makes any difference. I'm just going to praise them as well. A little match shout. Match shouts really do help, so make sure you use them in your games. We are having an absolute masterpiece here from Serge Gnabry as well. He's on a 9 point, what's he on? A 9.2. I believe that's 2 assists and a goal from the right inverted winger. The shadow striker has been non-existent, which he is most of the time. Upamecano with the ball brings it forward. Just what I want from that ball playing defender. Serge Gnabry puts the ball in, and Lewandowski has hit the post. He almost got his second of the day. Musiala is knackered out there, but we're just going to keep him on. There's no need for subs, is there? We're just going to keep him on. Here's Davies. Müller. That's nice football there. Lewandowski, surely. And it's 4. Of course it is. Lewandowski again. His 39th goal of the season. I mean, is he going to get 40th today? Is he going to get his 40th? Here's Davies. I mean, this was nicely worked, but poor defending, of course. Davies just runs in, makes that underlapping run. Just dinks it in the box. And there's Lewandowski with a easy header. 4 goals to the 0. And I believe oh no, Serge Gnabry with a corner. Oh, it was almost 5. He should have scored, it says. And that there wraps up the game. We had 19 shots at goal, 8 on target, XG of 2.06, but we scored 4 goals. Of course, one of them or 2 of them had to come from a set piece. Serge Gnabry scored, but Lewandowski also scored 2, which this tactic is all about, getting the best out of your striker. And Lewandowski gets 2 goals in this game. We did have 57% of the ball as well, so we did do well in possession. And that there, unfortunately, wraps up. I mean, it wraps up the video, doesn't it? It does. But what we can see actually is just not that it works with the main side. Under 19s, Bayern Munich, you can see they are on top of the league. So we'll load up the Lazio save and, well, have a look at how their reserves are doing. So here, as you can see, the under 18s, if I can get to the... I mean, we just beat Napoli's under 18 7-0. 12-3 on aggregate. That should really tell you everything you need to know. The semi-final hasn't... I don't actually understand this group stuff, but if we're looking for Lazio, here we are. They've played 24 games. They won 18, drew 5, lost 1. They won that league fairly comfortably. Looking at the player stats, the striker, of course, is the top goal scorer, Valerio Crespi. he scored 27 goals. And he's actually scored 2.15 goals per 90, which is it's absolutely madness. And the under 20s, the same. They've played 24, they've won 24, they've drawn 0, they lost 0, they scored 124 goals. It's absolute madness. The striker here, he too scored 24, but we've got a lot of strikers, we've got a lot of top goal scorers here. A lot. And if we look at the goals per 90 as well, we've got our striker here, 2.41 goals per 90 minutes at the under 20s. It's absolutely ridiculous. So it's not just working at the top level, it's also working with the under 18s, it's working with the under 20s. It must be a decent tactic. But unfortunately, that wraps up this video. Big shout out to SJM as well. His tactic, it kind of wasn't influenced, but shout out to SJM for his tactic as well on Patreon. It's a very good tactic. Make sure you check it out. Shout out to you guys for staying tuned. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. I am back. I mean, my face is in some pain now. It's hurting. I think I've done too much talking. I will see you guys soon. If you are enjoying my type of content, make sure you like, subscribe, comment. I mean, all of that's going to help the channel. I'll see you guys soon. Stay safe and peace out.